Why North and South Korea are still at war. Enemies after 70 years, more than 70 years ago, the guns fell silent on the Korean peninsula. But the war never ended. No peace treaty, no reconciliation, only a thin strip of land filled with landmines, soldiers, and silence. North Korea and South Korea are technically still at war today. The question is not why they don't like each other. The real question is, why has this war never been finished? To understand this, we must go back to a time before Korea was divided, before borders, before ideologies, before enemies. There was once only one Korea, a united Korea before the storm. For thousands of years, Korea existed as a single people, one language, one culture, one history. Despite invasions, dynasties, and hardship, Koreans always remained one nation. That unity ended abruptly in 1910. Japan invaded and colonized Korea. For 35 years, Korea lost its independence. Its culture was suppressed. Its people were forced to obey a foreign empire. But in 1945, everything changed. Japan lost World War II, and Korea was finally free, or so it seemed. The decision that changed everything. As Japan surrendered, the world's two new superpowers stepped in. The United States, the Soviet Union. They didn't ask Koreans what they wanted. Instead, they drew a line, right across the middle of the country, the 38th parallel. North of the line would be controlled by the Soviet Union. South of the line would be controlled by the United States. It was meant to be temporary, just a short-term solution. But temporary decisions have a way of becoming permanent. Two Koreas, two ideologies. In the North, the Soviets installed a communist system. A man named Kim Il-sung rose to power. In the South, the United States supported a capitalist government led by Syngman Rhee. Two governments, two systems, two visions of Korea, both claimed to be the true Korea. Neither accepted the other. By 1948, the division was official. North Korea, South Korea. The tension was inevitable. The war that exploded overnight. On June 25, 1950, North Korean forces crossed the 38th parallel. The Korean War had begun. It was fast, it was brutal, and it shocked the world. North Korea pushed deep into the south. Seoul fell in days. South Korea nearly collapsed. Then the United States intervened, leading a United Nations force. The tide turned. UN forces pushed north, far north, almost to the Chinese border. That's when China entered the war. Hundreds of thousands of Chinese troops flooded into Korea. The fighting became catastrophic. A war with no winners. For 3 years, the war raged. Cities were destroyed. Families were torn apart. Millions died. Civilians suffered the most. Villages vanished. Children became orphans. Brothers fought brothers. By 1953, both sides were exhausted. They agreed to stop fighting. But here's the critical part. They never signed a peace treaty. Only an armistice, a ceasefire, a pause, not peace. The DMZ, the most dangerous border on Earth. The Korean Demilitarized Zone was created, a 4-kilometer-wide strip separating North and South. Ironically, it is one of the most heavily armed borders on the planet. Soldiers stare at each other every day, weapons loaded, orders ready. Technically, the war is only sleeping, not over. Why peace never came? So why hasn't peace been signed after 70 years? The reasons are deeper than hatred. 1. Ideology became identity. North Korea is built on extreme isolation and authoritarian control. South Korea embraced democracy, global trade, and freedom. Peace would force North Korea to open up. That threatens its leadership. The regime survives on fear, control, and the idea of an external enemy. South Korea is that enemy. 2. The Kim dynasty's survival. For North Korea, the war narrative is power. The Kim family presents itself as the protector against American invasion. Ending the war would remove that justification. It would raise dangerous questions among its people, questions the regime cannot afford. 3. Military stalemate. Neither side can win without catastrophic consequences. A new war would involve millions of casualties, nuclear weapons, global economic collapse. No one wants to press that button, so the tension remains frozen. 4. Nuclear weapons changed everything. North Korea developed nuclear weapons. This changed the balance. Now, peace talks are no longer just about Korea. They involve the entire world. The US, China, Russia, and Japan all have stakes. Korea is no longer just Korea's problem. 2 Koreas, 2 realities. South Korea became one of the world's strongest economies. Technology, entertainment, freedom. North Korea became one of the most isolated nations on Earth. Restricted movement, state-controlled media, severe punishments. Yet both sides still teach their people the same thing. The other side is the enemy. Families divided. Forever. Perhaps the greatest tragedy is human. Millions of families were split in 1950. Parents from children. Siblings from siblings. Many died without ever seeing each other again. Some reunions happened decades later. Strangers with the same blood. Time stole what war didn't. Why the war still matters. Today, this is not ancient history. Missile tests, military drills, threats. The Korean War shapes global politics to this day. Every provocation risks escalation. Every misunderstanding could ignite something unstoppable. Are North and South Koreans really enemies? Here's the truth most people miss. Ordinary North Koreans and South Koreans do not hate each other. They share language, culture, history. What divides them is not the people. It's politics, power, fear. Could Korea ever be one again? Reunification sounds hopeful, but it would be painful. Economic collapse in the North, mass migration, cultural shock. South Korea knows this. North Korea fears it. So the status quo continues. A war frozen in time. The Korean War didn't end. It just stopped making noise. 70 years later, soldiers still stand ready. Missiles still point. Families still wait. And the world watches. Because as long as the Korean War remains unfinished, peace anywhere is never guaranteed. End.